Joe and Anthony Russo, the Russo brothers, welcome to the IMDb show.
Thank you.
I just saw Avengers Endgame. There are no spoilers on the show, but what I will say is, wow.
You are the very first journalist that we are speaking to who has seen Avengers Endgame.
Wow, that's awesome. That's really cool.
We've been looking forward to this moment for a very long time.
We're the Avengers. We gotta finish this.
What's one thing that you would love fans to be saying after they come out of the theaters seeing Avengers Endgame?
Anytime you have a favorite story, you always want the ending to be the best part of the story.
For sure.
So like that's our hope for this movie, is that people walk away and feel that, wow, the ending was really the
feel
best
like it's
part.
a satisfactory conclusion. I mean, that's the most important part of it. You've invested 10 years of your life.
This is gonna work, Steve.
I know it is. Because I don't know what I'm going to do if it doesn't.
Well, listen, I sat with a full audience this morning to watch it, and 100% of the people in there were overjoyed and thrilled, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I'll tell you, one time I wasn't that thrilled was the ending of Infinity War.
What did you do?
And we like telling subversive stories. We like surprising the audience. We like, subverting your expectations. So that was the pure intent of that film, was a gut punch. And we developed that script over like 2 years, and I think that was always the intent, was to end on the snap.
Us fans, we know our superheroes, we know our storylines, we know our characters. How do you stay one step ahead of legitimate fans?
For Joe and I think it just boils down to the fact that like we are diehard fans ourselves,
right.
So we have to surprise ourselves. Our job isn't to simply give people what they want. You know what I mean? Our
Right.
job is to give people a thrilling story, which is oftentimes different than exactly what they would want.
Frankly,
nobody wanted the end of Infinity War, but
staying
it
in
worked
touch
for people,
with
you know?
how they're feeling, what they're thinking, is the best way to subvert their expectations.
I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
You guys, as directors, technically have the keys to the toy box. What was the number one perk of being director that you guys took advantage of?
Number one perk.
Did you try on any of the suits?
You know what? No, I would
No, I
never
don't know
try
if we
any of
would
those.
fit
They're
in those.
sweaty, stinky. Honestly, a decade of making these movies has been about perfecting those suits so that those actors aren't suffering for
Right.
hours on end. And we were shooting in 110-degree heat on Civil War, and we had Paul Bettany suspended from wires in his full vision suit. We would literally have to put him up for like 2 minutes, roll cameras, get him down, pour buckets of cold water on him. I mean, he was just like sweating to death. And he was on the wires, and he moved his arm, and the seam split on the suit, and sweat just started shooting out
It
of
was
his
just
suit.
pouring sweat.
It's an involuntary response in the amygdala.
Here's an amazing perk that we got as directors. Downey has a base camp to himself, and by base camp, it's where the actors go to relax.
Come on, it's okay, laugh. Hey!
Robert has about 7 trailers.
It's
He has a center area.
Imagine the old school, like when a sheik crosses the desert.
Oh, yeah.
And like
Yes.
the whole palace is inside the
Follows
tents.
him
you know?
wherever he
That's
goes, yeah.
basically
That's what it was, and he had a dining area in the middle of it, and he would host lunch every day, and we would always go sit with Robert.
They deserve it. Plus, it helps ease my conscience.
I don't think the last two films, Infinity War and Endgame, would be as popular if it wasn't for Thanos. He is a supervillain, he is the bad guy, but please explain to me why I like him.
Look, we like our heroes complicated because we believe that's more truthful to the human experience. So in the same way that we like heroes who have flaws, we like villains who have virtues. You want your villain to be as compelling and as interesting and complicated and real as your heroes. So that was really our approach with Thanos, was how do we find some shred of sympathy in this character? How do we build this guy as a real character with a real vision who actually believes he's trying to do good for others?
And you want to be passionate as a director when you get to those scenes and you have to film them. And to have an actor like Brolin who's going to breathe that kind of dimensionality into a sociopath and make him that compelling and charismatic, that's fascinating to us.
One other thing we like is the relationship between the hero and the villain. We like to make that as complex and interesting as possible. And with Thanos and trying to humanize him, we knew that he had daughters, and we could lean on his relationship with his daughters as a way to really sort of dimensionalize him and complicate his road as a villain.
Reality is often disappointing. That is, it was.
So, as the directors of this film, you guys had to keep secrets from us, the fans, but also you had to keep secrets from your actors. You only gave them the lines that they needed, not necessarily what they wanted. How did that affect the actors' process?
It makes it more difficult for us because they still need this information when they come to set. So basically what happens is we end up needing to communicate more on set about what the scene is, where they're coming from, verbally.
Trust us on this. This is what we need. This is what you want in the
Without
scene.
going
This is
elaborately
what you're
into
trying to
plot.
get
Gotcha.
in from this other character, and there's a bigger reason why you want this, and we're going to get there, and when we get there, we'll tell you what that is.
If we do this, how do we know it's going to end any differently than it did before?
Was there an actor on the set that made you guys into better directors through
Downey.
these?
No question.
Tell me why.
The greatest actors in the world are the greatest actors in the world for a reason. We started blocking the scene with Robert, and this was Tom Holland's first time. It's the first scene he played Spider-Man. Blocking is how you stage the actors in a scene. And about 5 minutes into blocking it, Downey took over. You could see him mentoring Tom Holland. And we watched Downey for like 30 minutes help Tom block his character throughout the scene and turn him into a movie star.
I got homework.
I'm going to pretend you didn't say that.
No, I'm being serious.
Congratulations. It is a phenomenal film, just simply magnificent. Thank you both so much for being here. Avengers Endgame is in theaters everywhere right now. We're going to be obsessing over it, so don't miss our exclusive interview with Anthony Mackie, aka Falcon, aka, no spoilers, just come back Thursday at imdb.com/show.